You're listening to the ReachCast show, your weekly stop for the latest and greatest in the PlanetSide 2 universe and its community.
Welcome, everyone. It is June 23rd, and you are listening to episode 91 of the ReachCast show, proud members of the AGN and podcast networks. I am your host, Deringer, and I am alone. Once again, our good friend Torkz has been sidelined by work, and who knows if we'll ever see him again. Just kidding. He is working this evening. Could not make it in time for this evening's show, so you're just going to have me this evening. It'll be probably a shorter show than most. We're just going to run through some quick stuff. But this week we are brought to you by Emeralds and also by great listeners like you via the Support the Show tab on ReachCastShow.com. Also, I did get a notification that someone purchased one of our t-shirts. I know who you are, and I thank you very much, sir. But I wanted to remind people that we are using Spreadshirt to offer our t-shirts. It's reachcast.spreadshirt.com. We do have the t-shirts in multiple colors and multiple logo colors as well. I know some people are picking them up for SOE Live this year. I know that somebody else got stopped in the grocery store asking who ReachCast was this week. So people notice your shirts and feel free to pick one up. A small portion of the shirts comes back to us for show costs and things like that. So we do appreciate you guys going out and doing that. So everybody wants to know what's in store for tonight's show. June 19th patch, a tank test on PTS, and of course, the awesome server smash. So without further ado, let's roll right into this week's patch updates.
I'm going to get these mosquitoes in the air and rain down some hellfires on those fools. Oh no! What the f***? I should have listened to the ReachCast patch notes.
Let's start off with the June 19th patch, and as everyone knows, the biggest change on the June 19th patch was the Liberator changes. Starting off with Liberator, they reverted some of the stock armor changes that were presented in the original Liberator update. Most notably, stock resistance to armor-piercing rounds is being reverted from 10% back to minus 20%. Stock resistance to heat rounds is being reverted from 10% back to minus 33%. And the stock resistance to non-lock-on rocket launchers is being reverted from minus 70 back to minus 88%. So you can expect those AP, heat, and decimator, basically. I know there's more than just the decimator in the non-lock-on rocket launchers, but those are the three that I know kind of gave the original Liberator issues, people piling the Liberator the fits. But I know it's a welcome change because the majority of the Liberator pilots that I speak to felt that the Liberator was a little bit too strong in regards to AP, heat, and the non-lock-on rocket launchers. So I don't think too many people are unhappy with this change. They felt it kind of got over buffed in some case to make the Liberators a little too strong. That, of course, means the composite armor benefit will still remain, but it'll be a little less effective with the stock armor being adjusted. The Liberator engine audio also got changed in this patch, so it's adjusted to be more noticeable from greater distances. Of course, this is not going to affect the audio heard from players inside the Liberator. It's only going to be people outside the Liberator. Now for what most people are unhappy with regarding the June 19th patch, and this would be all the belly guns got updated. So starting off, the Dalton was the first one to be changed, and their goal here was to reduce its effectiveness against infantry. So the blast damage and size is being adjusted to be similar to an armor-piercing tank shell, which means it's minuscule compared to what it used to be regarding the Dalton. And again, I don't think too many people are upset about this. Well, I think Dalton gunners might be a little bit upset about this, but I think infantry players, and I heard some people say this last night when I was playing, that they're a little more accepting of being killed by a Dalton now because it means that that gunner had to hit you in the head with pretty much pinpoint accuracy to take you out. So It's giving a little more respect to those actual Dalton gunners if you're killing infantry with the Dalton. The ammo capacity, and this was something that I mentioned last week, that there was no mention of ammo capacity in any of the show notes. This did show back up, so that's good. Base ammo capacity reduced from 40 to 20 rounds, and now certified ammo capacity was reduced to 2 rounds per rank, and that actually came down from 8 rounds per rank. So the actual amount of ammo that can be held in the Dalton is much, much lower than it was in the past. As you can see, it's the base was reduced in half, and then the certified rounds was reduced even more so than that. So lots of changes to the Dalton. Also lots of changes to the Zephyr. The Zephyr received a reduction in effectiveness against infantry, but will remain more of an effective anti-personnel option than the Dalton due to its 6-round magazine and blast size. It's also received a small direct damage reduction to make it stand out more in that regard. So what they want is the Zephyr's intended role is to be a variant of the Dalton that trades some vehicle damage to be more forgiving and more effective against infantry. So they want, if you're going out there and rolling and pretty much going to be shelling a base with a lot of armor, but also work with killing infantry as well, they want you to be using the Zephyr rather than the Dalton. They want you to be using the Dalton more for anti-tank rounds. So again, this is the Zephyr's new intended role. The direct damage hit was lowered. It was halved to 600. And what that will result in is most vehicles requiring 1 or 2 more Zephyr hits to destroy, except for the Galaxy. Resist damage adjustments result in the following changes, and it's basically an extra hit to kill on just about everything. So Purple People Eater in the chat room says, with all the belly gun changes, the Bulldog is now the best AI gun on the Liberator. And from playing, I tend to agree. And that's because when we roll into the Duster, which is the next belly gun, that's intended to be primarily anti-infantry. And they felt that it needed improvements in its regards. So to do that, they increased the blast radius of the gun itself. So inner blast radius went from 0.75 meters to 2 meters. So you got to imagine that's more than doubling the inner blast radius of the Duster's damage. And they increased the outer blast radius from 4 to 6 meters. So their goal, as you can see with the Duster, was to make it hit hard and hit a much larger area. Now, by doing that, I still don't see a lot of people using the Duster. And in fact, the people I do hear using the Duster say that it still sucks. So hopefully we'll see a little bit more of a change to the Duster in the second phase of the Liberator changes. Because again, remember last week we said that phase 1 was belly guns. Phase 2 was going to be more tweaking of belly guns as well as tail guns. And that brings us to the final gun. This would be the Shredder. So they removed the blast damage on the Shredder. And this was mainly to reduce the effectiveness against Maxes and personnel. In addition, they bumped up Max's armor piercing resistance as well. Also with the Shredder, the ammo capacity was more than halved. It's down to 500 rounds. And the certified ammo capacity was reduced to 50 rounds per rank. Next up, tank changes. As we discussed last week, the only changes that we were going to see in this patch, and they agreed, is that only primary turrets are now stabilized, and the Vanguard acceleration was brought closer to the other tanks. So again, those were the only 2 things they said were going to go live last week, and they came, they kept their word on that. And they're going to hold off on any of the other changes. They're all on test right now. I'll talk about that a little bit later. So that takes care of tanks, short and sweet. ESF changes. The rocket pods and Hornet missiles were both made to better define them and allow the Liberator to be the anti-vehicle air power. So rocket pods received a direct hit damage reduction that lowers its effectiveness against vehicles. And the goal of that was to make it so in a full volley of rockets to the rear of a main battle tank will place it into critical damage instead of destroying it. Now again, that's rocket pods. With the Hornet missiles, they gave those a direct damage increase to make them more effective against vehicles than rocket pods in certain situations. Next up, as they said, the air hammer too effective against Liberators and tanks, and that was mainly because of the damage and the pellet spread. So to correct that, they adjusted the fall-off damage and require the people using the air hammer to get in a lot closer. They also changed the damage type from heavy machine gun to aircraft machine gun. Now, what this does is it leaves it mostly alone against other ESFs and light armor, but heavily armored vehicles, those are your main battle tanks for the most part, and Liberators, will resist that damage a lot more. And the direct damage is now on aircraft machine gun resist type. So, again, changes to that air hammer because they felt it was much too effective against Liberators and tanks. And listening to the NC people I play with, they agree the air hammer was a little too good. Next up, just some other quick changes. Coyote missiles had their reload time increase from 3 to 4 seconds. Max has got their resistance to AP rounds in general increased from 48% to 60%. That's a 12% increase. That's actually a lot. I'm surprised, but we'll see how that pans out. I haven't gotten into too many instances with AP rounds being fired at my Max suit, but we'll see how that goes. And as we said before, that's really the changes that we're seeing to the Dalton, because they didn't want the Dalton and the Zephyrs to be crushing Maxes like they were in the past. Finally, changes to the Baron shotgun. Overall, the reload is faster, and I heard a lot of people saying that, yes, the reload is noticeably faster on the Baron. And also, they improve the accuracy when running while in iron sights. So you should see some changes to your Baron. Finally, miscellaneous changes. Soccer cosmetics are in the game. A lot of people are wearing that American flag. I've seen a lot of the English flag as well out there. There's a lot of dissatisfaction that the Canadian flag is not in the game. And the answer to why the Canadian flag is not in the game is that some country flags are copyrighted and that they cannot be used. And they suggest you write your local politician on that one and not submit a bug report. The World Cup is actually still going on for a number of more weeks. So I don't think that you're going to lose your chance to get in and purchase them on the depot. Kid Ride, I don't know where the Argentine flag is. You're the only person on Twitter I see rocking the Argentine flag, but maybe you need to write your local politician. All right, some other quick miscellaneous stuff. Optics that are purchased with station cash will now be unlocked account-wide. They added an option to turn down bloom that wasn't previously there. They added the XP Assist Award for explosives. So basically, the assist XP from explosive kills is now equal to the exact same XP as a full kill. Engineers can now equip ammunition package by pressing the F key. That's the default key. I don't know if you've changed it or not. The medic tool now uses right click to revive and left click to heal. I heard a lot of people complaining about that one, actually, not realizing that that came into live and thinking that their revive was bugged and logging out and then logging back in to fix it. So that's a big one to remember. Medic tool, I'll say it again, now uses right click to revive and left click to heal. Sunderer owners now get 5 experience per player who spawns. That's up from 2 experience. Flash kills are now worth 100 XP, where they previously were 25. There was some adjustment to lag compensation to try to improve overall responsiveness. And also they increased the collision size of spawn beacons so they're easier to shoot and hit with explosives. And the final thing for the patch is just a couple bug fixes. Most notably, they're saying that aircraft weapons should no longer be able to shoot through biolab shields. I have not seen any recent posts since this patch with video proof showing that people are getting their Galaxies or Liberators stuck on the biolab shields and being able to fire through. So if you do have a video after June 19th of that, I'm sure everybody on Reddit would love to see that so they can point fingers at people. But apparently that should have been fixed with this last patch. And finally, Gate Shield diffuser should now function properly when activated while holding the A or D key. There was an issue in the past where if you didn't hit that shield exactly dead on and were kind of off even a tiniest fraction of a degree, that you'd bounce off that shield. So they're claiming that that is fixed as well. Again, not something that I've experienced since the patch, so I will wait for the community to say that that is still broken or not. That wraps up the June 19th patch, but there was also a correction patch that was dropped on the 20th, and this one was mainly dropped to fix the corpse collision. What was happening was bullets were being blocked by corpses that were lying on the ground, and it was resulting in a lot of bad hit registration firefights where there were multiple corpses on the ground. That collision should have been fixed with the June 20th patch, so it should not be messing up your game any longer. I know there were a bunch of people complaining about that on the 19th, so that fix went in quite quickly on June 20th. And that's it for patch notes. We're going to move on to community briefing.
Attention, soldiers! Get your butts in here for this week's community briefing.
All right, first up, also on June 19th, Higby and Kevmo hosted a tank test on the public test server. Their goal was to get feedback from the main battle tank drivers and the viability of the new changes that they were suggesting to push into the game. So basically, any tank change that they had suggested was now live, or is now live on the test server. So if you're curious on how the changes affect the Magrat or Vanguard or Prowler, you should head on over to the test server and give them a ride and see how they're working for you. I joined this test, the tank test, because, as I said on last week's show, I felt the devs were ignoring tank drivers like myself. So I was very pleased to see that they wanted to do a specific test and try to gather some specific feedback from those of us who like to drive tanks. So, like I said, I played and listened to the majority of the 2 hours plus that this went on. The first hour was the actual testing. The second hour was basically people just talking about what they liked and didn't like, while Higby and Kevmo listened on and chimed in with different feedback. Personally, I played around with the Mag Rider first and then rolled on a Vanguard second, specifically looking to play with the velocity changes because I wanted to see how that fall-off was for lobbing in shots. And honestly, I didn't notice too much of a difference going from gravity 4 to 5. I'm already used to lobbing in those Mag Rider rounds already, so perhaps it didn't affect me as much. I wonder if it will affect a Vanguard driver who has never shot a Mag Rider before, because everybody knows the Mag Rider's got that. It's just got that little bit of an arc, so you end up lobbing that shot in. Well, I should say a little bit of an arc. There's a definite arc on that thing. So you've got to lob it in just right, and it's more art than science to get that shot in there. So I'm kind of used to it, so I really didn't notice it when firing the Vanguard. So I was concerned about it prior to playing on the PTS. I'm less concerned about the velocity and gravity changes right now. Other people were more concerned by it. Some people that were in on the chat. Elite Eskimo was actually one of the most vocal people in that chat. Props to you, Elite, for getting in there and making your voice heard, because I know you were still not happy about a lot of the stuff. I don't even know if Elite Eskimo listens. He might. I know he's commented on some of the stuff that we've done in the past. Regarding the speed, because the Vanguard speed was out there, it did feel improved to me, and it does play on live as well. Although when I was in my Mag Rider, I felt that I was being outflanked a lot easier by Prowlers and Vanguards than before, and the Vanguard the Mag Rider can be kind of floaty and difficult to use at times, but I don't recall being outflanked as easily as I was. Now, this could be that I was going up against some of the better pilots, better tank pilots that are out there on the test server. But really that the Vanguard can go backwards so much quicker now. It almost feels like it can go faster than the Mag Rider can go forward. So I'm not happy about that when I'm in my Mag Rider. Oh, Sir Purple People Eater in the chat room says the exact same thing. Vanguards can now drive backwards faster than Mag can drive forwards. That's how it feels to me as well. I will 100% agree with you on that. So I feel like the Mag Rider needs a little something now. And I felt that way before. I felt that it was going to be a little outclassed once the Vanguards got that speed increase, and I really felt that way afterwards, and I expressed that opinion during the tank test as well, that Mag Rider still needs a little something extra. I didn't get a response saying that they're going to get anything extra, but I'm at least happy that Kevmo was in that channel. You know, we were on a TeamSpeak channel, and he was listening to everything everybody was saying, and I didn't actually hear him scribbling on a piece of paper, but I believe he was taking notes as well. I did personally thank him for giving me 3 weeks worth of show content. And I did ask him to come on ReachCast sometime in the future. I suggested perhaps after the tank stuff has been live for a couple weeks to get him in, and maybe we can throw some questions at him. He didn't say yes he would come on, but he didn't say no that he wouldn't come on. So I still have hope that he'll pop on the show at some point and talk to us about these tank changes and the Liberator changes as well. Again, this was all about tank test, and even people who came in to complain about Liberators were quickly shouted down and shut up. And one guy was even kicked from the TeamSpeak channel for talking about Liberators too much when it was time to talk about tanks. So you tank drivers, and I guess I lump myself in the same thing. We are I feel like we're a minority in PlanetSide 2, but I'm glad that we all came out in force for this specific test on the PTS. And I hope that if they throw some more changes and throw a second one out there, we'll be as vocal and as active on this test. So pat yourselves on the back for getting out there and getting the information and making sure the Liberator pilots aren't the only ones who bitched and moaned and cried legitimately and got their stuff changed. So that covers the tank test on the PTS. The other giant, enormous thing, maybe some of you have heard about it, but on Friday, June 20th, there was this thing called the Server Smash, and apparently 2 servers fought each other. I believe one of them was Mattherson and the other was Waterson. In case you guys are wondering, I was there. I actually played in the Server Smash. I was chosen to represent Mattherson. I played with the guys from Black Arrows, fought for some Mattherson pride. And just to give people, first off, before I even get in to how the Server Smash went, or the details and the breakdown of Server Smash, I do want to say that the Server Smash was probably the most fun that I have had in PlanetSide 2 in the longest time. It had its hiccups at the end. We'll get into that. I still was ecstatic about the number of people that showed up to play this, how serious everybody took it, the back and forth that we saw in the game. Again, this was some of the most fun that I've had in PlanetSide 2 in the longest time. And I mean, I play a lot during the week, but getting to experience something as large and as awesome as the Server Smash between Mattherson and Waterson, I'm very honored to have been chosen and be a part of it, because I feel that if you were sitting on the sidelines, it doesn't do it justice to how heart-pounding the action was and how amazing it was all the way up to the last base. So for those that don't know, and if you don't know, you have to be living in a cave or not playing PlanetSide 2. The Server Smash went down last Friday on the test server. Mattherson played Vanu, Waterson played TR, and just to sum it up, Waterson dominated the entire game. Absolutely dominated. And I remember the posts from Mattherson, that you don't matter, son. And, all the trash talk that I saw from Mattherson, I saw none, so very little of that prior to the match from Waterson. And Waterson came out and put their money where their mouth is. They, like I said, I have never been thrown in the meat grinder as much as I was. I got lumped in with the guys from DA, VCO, and I forget the other outfit, and I apologize to that outfit since we were running together the entire time. We went to the middle lane, and Isotech plant was our target, or our first target. And when we dropped on that, the Waterson was already there, already hacking the terminals, already getting harassers out, already crashing the point. And it was so hectic, but so insanely awesome. And I personally have never played in any community clash. I've played in a server smash before, but I just kind of jumped in at the last minute and didn't really take it too seriously. Not as serious as this was. Purple People here says it was SVO. Thank you for getting that one out there. Again, I played with these guys all night. It would be remiss of me not to mention them as well. This was our platoon. And like I said, we were tasked with the middle lane, and the middle lane was an absolute meat grinder. I was killed by Zaps people. I was killed by DD12 people. I was killed by Nuck members that I recognized. I took the brunt of it, I have to say. I know some of the other people in backs came out of this with a positive kill death. I did not. I was getting my shit pushed in for the first hour easily. I live streamed the whole thing and pulled up my recording offline, and I've been editing it to try and cut it down into a 5-minute bite-sized thing to describe everything that I saw. And I started watching the first half hour, and it's literally just me dying. I don't think I got many kills at all. But let me run through the whole thing. So again, Waterson dominated the entire game, and I don't say that lightly. They dominated. They were making clutch saves left and right. Every time the guys in Mattherson would push and try to take a base, Waterson would drop it with 5 seconds left and resecure it. We couldn't do anything. They were pushing in they were everywhere all at once, and it was amazing. So the 2 hours end. Waterson is up by about 10 points, but we're all told overtime rules are in effect, and overtime rules dictate that any base that has a timer going is still in play until it swings one way or another. We're told there's 5 live bases. Waterson holds all of them, but they're all in flux. The guys in Waterson lock down 2 of them, but Mattherson locks down their own, and that effectively earns us 3 points and removes 3 points from them. So that leaves 2 bases at the end, the Octagon and Esamir Munitions. My group was tasked to get in Octagon and hold it at all costs. When we dropped, there was so much air overhead, I could barely fly around with not hitting either a Mosquito, a Liberator, or another Scythe. It was insane in the air. And I think I got a kill. I'm not sure. I haven't gotten that far in. But I know I had to eject almost immediately and had to respawn at a Sunderer. And I grabbed a Max, a Burster, and just started trying my best to take out the air because I couldn't even get inside the base. It was so hectic. And in the end, the announcers said that if Mattherson takes either the Octagon or Esamir Munitions, that they win Server Smash. Now, up until that point, we had no idea we were even close. There was talk within, and I said it, that, we're going to be called Waterson. There's no way Matherson's going to win this thing. And when they told us in overtime that if we took either base that we would win the game, it just turned on that switch. And in the end, we decided, forget Octagon. Everybody goes to Esamir Munitions. Esamir Munitions is our last stand. Waterson can take the Octagon, and we're going from there. So at the end of the match, easily 500 to 700 people all at once fighting over EMC, and that's counting the fun police flying overhead. it results in a huge lag fest. There were times when TR players are warping across my screen. I'm sure I'm warping across their screen as well. I don't think one base was ever designed to hold that many people fighting over it all at the same time. Excuse me. Mattherson manages to grab all 3 points. Waterson reclaims 1, but Mattherson held them all too long and ends up flipping Esamir Munitions in their favor. And the countdown 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 as it's ticking down, everyone starts screaming because we can't believe that we pulled it out and beat Waterson after the ass kicking that we had gotten for the first 2 hours. And I don't say ass kicking lightly. We were destroyed by Waterson. I have never felt so humiliated by the people I fought against in Waterson. And I almost have no words for how awesome Waterson played, how well they played, and the fact that they were everywhere all at the same time. The leaders of Waterson must have like sixth sense or something, because they always had people where they needed to be. My hat goes off, and once we were told we won, I cracked a beer for Waterson because it was such a good match. So everybody's screaming, everybody's rejoicing, and then we get the call that there was a miscount, and Waterson actually won by 1 point. And you can just imagine the deflation and the air just going out of the room. You know, air absolutely goes out of the room, and everybody's like, what do you mean? And no one can believe it. And at that point, I believe that's when the Mattherson got burned, need some Waterson meme emerged. And I thought it was hilarious, whoever put that together. Kudos to them. And so we're all sitting there, and it's like, how did we lose? And I can't believe it was by 1 point, and I can't believe they miscounted. And a lot of us felt sick to our stomach at the end, you know, because we were at that high where we've won and then we've lost. And immediately on Reddit, posts started appearing from Mattherson players saying, you know, you didn't count wrong. It was counted correctly. Mattherson did win by 1 point. And sure enough, shortly, it was at least 15 minutes later before it was finally confirmed that the second count was wrong and Mattherson did actually win by 1 point. So in the end, Mattherson was announced the winner of Server Smash, but no one felt that it was fair after such a closely fought match that the server should be named either Mattherson or Waterson. So it was ultimately decided that the new merged continent, which will actually be merging this week, and actually if you're listening to the show on Wednesday or Thursday, will have already merged, and we will actually be named Emerald. And that is in homage to the original East Coast server, Emerald, from PlanetSide 1. Now, a lot of people not a lot of people, some people are upset because that kind of takes away the lore of the name Mattherson and the name Waterson. If any of you have gone and actually read the lore, those are pretty big names within the PlanetSide 2 universe. I want to say that they're both generals, but I'm sure that I'm wrong. I'll have to go and reread some of the lore. I should have reread the lore before coming on tonight, but Emerald just doesn't kind of roll off the tongue the way some of the other servers do. You know, like Miller, Series, Mattherson, Waterson, Connery. Those are all, you know, people within the game or locations within the game, where Emerald really has nothing to do with it. It just harkens back to the original PlanetSide 1. And it does pay homage to PlanetSide 1, so I understand why it's there, and that's fine. You know, I don't want to take that away. But that's that. That's Server Smash in a nutshell. Now, I'm not going to go into the talk of maybe one side was cheating and this side had a population advantage the entire match, a 2 to 3% pop advantage, and the other side brought in all their reserves at the end. I don't want to get into all that because I've heard all the rumors. I've seen all the images of people posting this, posting that. And I just want to walk away with the good memory that I have of Server Smash as that, and Superb People Leader in the chat room said it best. It's how PlanetSide is meant to be played. It was one of the most amazing things I've experienced inside PlanetSide 2. And that's the way that I want to remember it. I want to remember getting absolutely destroyed by Waterson in the beginning. I want to remember us taking ground back at the end. And I want to remember that huge fight at Esamir Munitions. I mean, I pulled a mech suit out and marched across that bridge, just blasting people, praying that I didn't get weapon locked for the third time in the match because it was that hectic. So hats off to the people who put Server Smash together. I know it could not have been an easy feat to do. Remember, I was in on a lot of the community clash stuff. I know what it is to set some of this stuff up, and it's an absolute logistics nightmare. So even though there was some MathErrorSon issues, it's still, everybody I've talked to who got to play in this said that they have had some of the most fun that they've had in PlanetSide 2 in a long time playing Server Smash. And it's all anybody's talking about that I've talked to recently who played in it. Everybody I talked to in Mattherson either is sad that they missed out on it because there wasn't enough, they couldn't get more people in, or whatnot. But, again, some of the most fun I've had in game. All right. Let's move on to there was a post on Reddit today that I just wanted to bring up, and it's titled, "In Memory of the Server Smash, Rename the Octagon and Esamir Munitions Corp." And the poster of this and a lot of other people agreed that we should rename the Octagon and Esamir Munitions Corp. The Octagon should be renamed to something along the lines of Waterson Citadel, and Esamir Munitions should be renamed to Mattherson Munitions. I'm fine with these changes, and I do think that there should be some kind of homage to the huge fight that went on, and I think that making those changes would be awesome. I only wonder how much that would change, how much coding that would require. Granted, I know to the lay people, you and I, who don't do programming, I know some of you do, talking to the rest of us, we have no idea how much goes into actually making a name change to a base or anything like that. I see it as just crossing something out and adding something new. So I want to see it happen, get these things renamed. And I know SOE is kind of agreed. I saw Higby posted saying, "Oh yeah, I like those names. Let's do that." So hopefully we will see those name changes coming in a future patch. I would love to see them on Tuesday when they merge the servers. Speaking of Tuesday when they merge the servers, there is talk that this next patch we should see the merged servers, we should see continent locking, and we should also see outfit recruiting. All of those things are on test right now. We were also supposed to see Hassan on Tuesday, but I know Raider X posted saying that had been pushed back a little bit, so that will not be released in Tuesday's patch. But come Tuesday night, if you're logging in, expect to have a whole bunch of new things in the game, specifically continent locking. Maybe we can finally get off Indar for once. I know on Mattherson, the talk was as soon as continent locking is dropped in game, everybody will rush to continent lock Indar so we don't have to play on it for a little while. I am highly in favor of that, so hopefully we'll see that. But bigger, and this is only affecting obviously the Mattherson Waterson people, I can't wait to play more with the Waterson people after this Server Smash. And I know maybe this show is Server Smash, but It's all I've been thinking about since it happened on Friday, and I know I'm not the only one. So I can't wait to play with a lot of the outfits that were absolutely destroying me on Friday. All right, let's wrap up the community briefing. We have not done a community question of the week in a few weeks, and a few people have given me crap for that, so I want to make sure that we bring it back this week. So this week's community question, and it's prompted by a post by Malorn. He wants to know, what would you name the new Waterson alert? And his first thought was Marsh Madness, which I think is awesome, but I'm interested to see what the community would also come up for the name of the new Waterson alert. So get your thinking caps on, and I would love to hear some of your ideas. With that, we're going to roll into the good, the bad, and the OP.
Have another drink on me, soldier.
Okay, thank you kindly.
If you can look hard enough past all the death and all the sorrow, there are good things. You must remember that we will overcome the good, the bad, and the overpowered.
I'm sure the chat room can immediately guess what my good for this week will be. And that is obviously the Server Smash. My bad, and I'm not going to say anything else about the Server Smash, why it was good, because it was just good. The bad is how the Server Smash ended, and I will lay a little bit of blame on the people that were running the event. The counting error, the math error, the recount error, that was a mess, and then the fact that it spawned so much drama on Reddit over who was right, who was wrong, why they were wrong. I was really dissatisfied with that. And also, like I said before, the Emerald name really strikes no lore reason in the game, and it's just an homage to the original one. I'd almost wish they'd pick a third name, or you know something different. I don't know. I'm a little disappointed with the ultimate ending of Server Smash. Again, there was that elation, then the deflation, and then the who knows. So that was my bad for the week. We have no items in the mailbag, and sorry about that. So like I said, this is going to be a short show tonight, and I'm going to take this time to thank all of you who have come out to the chat room this evening. So I've got T-Shaped Visor, that's our friend Ock, Arctic Vector, Arctorn, Dayton Stir, Elemental TRL, Nighthawk 666, Null Radix, or Purple Bleeder, and Token J. Thank you all for coming out to the live show this evening. Contact info for the show, as always, reachcastshow.com. You can email us at reachcastshow@gmail.com. You can call us, 415-787-3224. We're on Twitch, live streaming every Monday evening at twitch.tv/reachcast. Show Twitter is at ReachCast Show. You can find me at the Deringer. Torkz, who again is not with us this evening due to other obligations, is at ReachCast Torkz. As always, just want to thank the rest of the ReachCast crew, Steve, Cliff, John, Jenny Boo, and Hamma. I apologize for the short show, but that's all we got for this week. I'll get on out there to PlanetSide 2 and people of Waterson, Vanu and TR of Waterson. I am coming for you.
That's right, Sergeant. You made the call. All right, soldiers. You've done a great job here today. Let's get our stuff and get the hell out of here. Come in, Sergeant. We hope to see you again.